All right, Shalom. First and foremost, going to give all praises, honor, and glory due unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, this lesson is going to be on how to write out the Assyrian text on paper. So Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. We're just going to go through all of the Assyrian characters, and some of these Assyrian characters can be a little confusing because they look, very similar. All right. But ultimately, we're returning back to our heritage. OK, you have our forefathers who understood this text, and the Hebrew language is preserved through this text. OK, you have a lot of ancient scrolls that were written in the Assyrian text. All right. After the Babylonian Empire. All right. We learned this. We learned this text here. OK, and we applied it to our language. All right. Ezra, as a matter of fact, he was a scribe. All right. So like I said, just going into these letters. All right. I'm just going to call them out. OK, and then we're going to go over how to write them. So we got the first letter. And of course, you start from right to left when you're reading the Hebrew. All right. The first letter is A right here. All right. And then we got the Ba, Ga, and then the Da, Ha, Wa, Za. All right. Then we got Cha. All right. And then we have Ta, Ya, Ka. And then you have the final form of the Ka, which we'll go over. La. All right. Ma. And this is also, you can write Ma like this. It's the final form of Ma. All right. Next we have Na. And then Na, the final form of Na as well. Sa. I. Pa. And the final form of Pa. Taza, and the final form of Taza. Then we got Kwa, Ra, Sha, and Tha. All right, we're gonna go over all of these letters and the final form of these letters. All right. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so we're going to start with the first. Letter. All right, which is A. All right. See here. First letter here is A. Okay, so we're going to write that. Show you how to write that in the Assyrian. All right, so you just start from the top left, and you kind of do a little deal like that. You can make it a straight line if you want, but you just bring it. And don't really connect the two widgets, all right, to the line when you're writing it. So you would just kind of, let me just do it again real quick. Okay. So you would just start from the top left, come down, boom. And then you'll notice that I have this box, and it'll look ugly because, you're writing it with your hand, right? Like this stuff right here looks perfect. This is like calligraphy, so you're not going to get it perfect. Obviously, you're not going to have a calligraphy pen, but it's good to write it out just so you can know both texts, right? So once again, you'll just start from the top left, kind of come down at an angle, and you'll notice, like I said, all of these letters, okay, are written in a box. An imaginary box. If you look at these letters, the reason why they look so perfect, you see it's like a square, like it's written in an imaginary square. So you imagine you writing these letters in a square, even this tiny one right here. All right, and I'll show you in a minute. That's just how it's written. Okay, that's how they write it. And there's a couple exceptions, but you still write it in the square. just to make it, make it look neat. So that's the ah right there. All right. So next is the ba. Okay. All right. So next is ba, and the ba. You're gonna start from the top left. You're gonna come down, and then you're gonna bring that bottom part like that. All right. Now this is really important. All right, because this is one of the letters that look like another letter. All right. You can see this ba right here. It has that little cliff, that little edge on the side of it when you're coming out to the side. All right. And when you're writing this letter here, the ka, it looks very similar to the ba. But the only thing that makes it different is that it doesn't have that edge on the bottom right. You see that edge right there? So when you're writing it, you want to do the same thing. You want to have that edge, at the bottom down here. All right, so that's the ba. Okay. All right. So next is the ga. All right, like I said, you're gonna start, keep it in the box. Even if it doesn't take up the whole box, you still keep it in the box, in the imaginary box, right? And so you'll just do what I just did, right? You'll start from the top, come down, and then you've got that little cliff at the end. All right, like I said, when you're writing it on pencil, you're not gonna get it perfect, but you can see, the little cliff at the end, right? Because this letter also looks a lot like this letter, which is the wa, and this letter, which is the za. So you got to be real careful, when you're writing it out, making sure that it's legible. All right, so you got that. That's the ga. All right, so next is the da. All right, so here's the da. Boom. All right, start from the top left, come down, come over, and then you come down, right? And so this letter also looks a lot like, you see here, this da also looks a lot like this letter right here, ra. Okay, this is the ra, which the difference between the da and the ra, once again, is that little edge off the side. So when you're writing the da, you got to make sure it's pointy and it comes past that vertical line. Okay, so that when others are reading it, they can tell, okay, that's a da and it's not a ra. Okay, so that's the da. All right, and these letters, none of these letters so far have a final form. All right, aba, ga, da. Next is the ha. Okay, boom, that's the ha. Well, let me do it a little neater. Like I said, it's not gonna be perfect because you're handwriting it, but you want to make sure that you practice it so that it's legible, right? So that's the ha right there. Okay, and this letter, once again, looks a lot like another letter. Okay, this ha right here, all right, it looks a lot like the cha. You see that at the end right there? Only difference being is there's a space in between the ha and there's no space right there on the cha. All right, another way to write it, you could even get more technical. You could kind of just make it sharp like that, that corner right there, but it doesn't really matter as long as you have, that the difference, the space right there on the left line, you're good to go. All right, so that's the ha. All right, next is wa. All right, which is just a simple little deal at the top, and you're coming straight down. All right, that's the wa. Like I said, the wa looks a lot like, this is the wa right here. It looks a lot like the ga, but even more so the za. It looks very, very similar to the za. Okay, so when you're writing it, when it's like I said, make sure you're careful and you want to know the differences between the wa and the za. So that's the wa, and I'm gonna show you the za. All right. So that's the za right there. That's the difference between the wa and the za. All right. So let's do that again. All right. I'm gonna write the wa first. All right. Here's the wa. Okay. And here's the za. You see, the difference is up top. All right. You got the little hook coming from the left side on the wa. Salakia. All right. And on the za, it's on the right side. Okay. And like I said, if you come over here, you can see it's it starts on top of it, right? Right. Versus on the left side with the wa. And same thing when you're writing it out. Okay. Same thing when you're writing it out. So over time, you'll get used to it. But that's the wa and the za. All right. Next is the cha. All right. The cha. So with the cha, you want to make sure that you close that gap. Otherwise, it'll look just like the ha, and it'll be confusing. All right. Another way to write it, instead of having that sharp edge, you can have it like that. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's the cha. Okay. All right. So next, and let me show you again what it looks like when you write it. So that's the cha right there. Okay. All right. So next is the ta. All right. Ta. Okay. So the ta, we'll go over it here. All right. This is how I write them. This is how I write the ta right here. I just keep it simple. Boom. Okay. You can add the little hook right there if you want, but really, as long as, there's not really any other letters that really looks too much like the ta to me. I mean, maybe you could say it looks like a ma, maybe, but I mean, it's the only one that looks like this, that has the thing curving in. So I just write it, even though it's not identical, like this image right here is not like identical to this deal right here. It's still on the keyboard. When you look at it on the keyboard, it looks a lot like this. Okay. And so when you're writing it out, you don't want to spend too much time, making it look perfect. You know what I'm saying? You just do one little swoop. You just do it like that, All right. So that's the ta right there. That's how I write it. That's how I learned to write it. So that's that right there. All right. Next, to me, is the easiest letter. All right. The ya. Literally, it's a little hook in the top right corner. Okay. And if you look, you can see that's really what it is. Just a little hook right there. Okay. So that's real easy to write. All right. So like, for example, we've done all of the letters that comprise the name of the Lord so far. Right. So if we want to write the name of the Lord, we say ya, ha, wa. Okay. You can see how it kind of has that imaginary box around it. And you would just write it just like that. Okay. All right. So that's the ha. And next we have the ka. Now, this is the letter. This is one of the letters that have a final form. All right. Because this is a ka and this is also a ka. All right. Both of these letters make the ka sound. Now, the only time you're going to see ka in this form is when it's at the end of the word. So, for example, well, first of all, let's just do the ka like this one. All right, let's do a regular ka. All right. So, So, let me see here. All right, so let's get rid of that. And all right, so we got ka, which just make it round, nice and round, okay? Because you don't want it to look like a ba. You see that? You don't want it to look, because the only difference between a ka and a ba, okay, if you take this away, erase that, and you put a straight line there. Now it becomes a ba. Now I know that was sloppy, but that's why you want to be careful. You want to be careful when you write in the ka, because you want to make sure all the edges are round. Because once again, you don't want it to look like